Okay, sound is okay. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyadi Bhashyate Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasiri Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So we are beginning today on our fifth part, that is final part of the seminar titled Advancing in Krishna Consciousness During the Lockdown. And I think it's much more relevant now that the lockdown is extended. Although I said it, that it's going to go on, it's not going to end soon. Okay, so I'm going to go to the slides now. So, advancing in Krishna consciousness during the lockdown, part 5. So, I mentioned that what is good sadhana? Good sadhana is regulating sleep timing, sleeping early, waking up early, following a morning program, regularly reading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. We have gone through all of these now in the different parts, hearing lectures, primarily of Srila Prabhupada, and then also of our Diksha Guru and anyone who you're inspired by with the permission of your spiritual authority. We also looked at learning and memorizing shlokas. So today we're going to cover 3 things. Here it says 2, but we'll cover preparing BHOGA for Krishna. We won't go into the detail how to do it, but the importance of that. Then we're going to look at reducing TV time and E-ASAT-SANGHA. E-ASAT-SANGHA. Okay. So today, this is what we are covering. Preparing BHOGA for Krishna, reducing TV time, E-ASAT-SANGHA, and making a good sadhana chart or sadhana schedule. Now, preparing BHOGA for Krishna. Basically, this means cooking for Krishna, which means we cook and offer. Okay. So we'll start with that. First of all, every Hare Krishna should know how to cook for Krishna because we don't eat out. So what are we going to do? And if you don't know how to cook, then you'll not be happy because what will we cook? I mean, first of all, Krishna won't be happy you're not cooking for him. And also, we'll be attracted to eating other things. So we have to learn to cook. We have to chant 16 rounds, read, and follow 48 principles, and we should learn to cook. This is important also. We must only eat food cooked with love by a devotee. So that means if someone is getting a salary, that means, like you go somewhere and they say he's a devotee in this so-and-so place, maybe restaurant or whatever, but he's getting a salary. That means he's not cooking with love, he's cooking for money. So we must only eat food cooked with love by a devotee. Okay, cooked and offered with love. Okay, offer everything before eating. So whatever we eat has to be cooked and has to be offered and should be by a devotee. For example, why am I saying that it should be cooked with love by a devotee? Because if you say, I'm going to, everything should be offered to Krishna. So I'll go to a restaurant and take that food and offered it to Krishna. No, because it was not cooked with love by a devotee. It was cooked by someone for money. So it should be cooked by a devotee, then offered with love by a devotee. And like that, everything we eat should be offered. Krishna likes to eat food cooked with love by his devotees. We have so many temples all over India and out of India where so many preparations are made for pleasure of Krishna in form of Jagannath, Vittal, Ranganath, and so many there, Udupi, Krishna. So they cook and offer food, especially Jagannath, Lord Jagannath, and then Nathdwar. Here they offer food to Krishna with love, and then it is a great service that they're doing. It is an important part of their service to offer such nice items to Krishna. So this is a big part of bhakti which everyone should do. And there's no excuse now because you're all at home. So learn to cook and cook some nice item for Krishna, offer to him and distribute maybe to your neighbor's friend. You can also honor it. Okay, and this should be, everyone should learn this. Okay, now some people are living at home, single people in PGs, paying guest, small rooms or communes, groups of people. So now they should also cook, and they should tell their roommates that, let me cook without onion and garlic, let me offer it, and then we can all share it. And if you think the taste is not good, then you can cook. So they'll experience, because many people have idea there's no onion garlic, it doesn't taste good. No, we should all endeavor to do this. If you're in a family, you persuade your family, you cook and show them, cook some nice sweet item, any other item. And the PGs, if you're with a group of students or working people, you try to tell them that, let me try and cook and offer, and you taste, then you see is it good or not. Okay, so Krishna likes to eat food cooked with love by his devotee. It's an act of bhakti. It's an important part which of devotional service, which working people can now do also. If we follow the proper standard and cook and offer, Krishna is pleased with the offering. It becomes transcendental, will be benefited. So here, the point being made is that some people don't like to follow standards so much. But if we keep a clean kitchen and we keep special pots for Krishna to cook in and to offer, and we cook without tasting it, and without onion garlic, follow all the rules, then Krishna becomes very pleased, and then the offering becomes highly spiritualized, and anyone who tastes it will get love of God, gradually will get purified, and their sinful reactions destroyed. So if you follow the rules, it's very much worth it, because it's not that all prasad is same. It is in one way, but in another way it is that who follows the rules and cooks with such attention and care, that prasad becomes very powerful. If anyone takes it, then immediately they come on that platform. So if you distribute it among friends, family, they'll become Krishna conscious, which is what we want. Now we should all learn cooking and offering in the lockdown. It's not in the scope of this seminar to explain how to cook and offer. That is, you can find in, for example, this book, Beginner's Guide to Krishna Consciousness. We'll also find in some places on the internet. In future, we hope to put it in our YouTube channel also. So until then, you can research and look at it, but I think a lot of you know that. So we should, in this time, learn to cook some nice items and some quick items so that we can increase our intake of prasad, and maybe make the rule now that I'll only take prasadam. So this is a good opportunity. So some people are still eating out food not offered to Krishna, non-prasadam, food not offered to Krishna, not cooked by devotees. Why should we not do this? So let's look at that. First point is that we get the karma or consciousness of the cook. Whatever the consciousness of the cook is, he's a non-devotee, we will get that consciousness and we will take his karma. That means that whatever, if he did some sinful activity, then that will also impact us. We will also have to pay for that sinful activity. So eating food cooked by non-devotees, this is very detrimental for our spiritual life. We lose taste and desire to chant, to read and hear about Krishna. As long as, wrong spelling of lose, sorry. Yeah. So as long as we are eating out and absorbing karma and consciousness of other people, then we'll not have that desire to advance in Krishna consciousness. We'll always feel like, I don't have to do so much, or I cannot read, I fall asleep in chanting or reading. You know, we can't chant, we cannot read, and we don't want to hear about Krishna, because we are absorbing the consciousness of the cook, of the people who cook this non-devotee food. So this is again harmful for our spiritual life. That's why we emphasize it so much, not to do this. Another point, it increases our negative qualities, lust, anger, envy, excess sleep. This happens. Why? Because when we take food not offered to Krishna, then it increases our material infection. The power of Maya increases in us, the illusion and material. So in that condition to try and practice bhakti, it becomes difficult for us. We have to overcome this. So the bhakti that we do, the devotional service, simply is engaged in purifying us, and real advancement cannot take place as long as we are eating out. Because bhakti, the point of bhakti begins when all our sinful reactions have been destroyed. Tesham tva antagata papam jananam punya karmanam te dvanda mohina nirmukta bhajante mam virudha vrata. Those who have come to the end of sinful reactions in this life and in past lives, whatever they committed, then jananam punya te dvandva mohina nirmukta, then they become free from illusion and duality. Okay, then they only see Krishna everywhere, though they don't see so many other illusory representations of Maya. Bhajatemam Dhruta Vrata, then they're able to worship me with all whole motivation and desire. But until the time we are eating outside food, then lust, anger, envy, sleep, that is infected us. Eating outside food is sinful. Why? Because everything belongs to Krishna, so it should be offered to him first. That is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. We look at some quotes ahead after this. It is basically sinful to not offer things to Krishna, because it's like we are a thief. We are taking something without giving the owner, without informing. You have to tell the owner, we have to offer everything and acknowledge, Krishna, you are supreme. You have given us this BHOGA and we are thankful. So after offering, Krishna will accept if it's offered with love, and then we honor, and then that is the proper way we should do things. This was very common in many houses and families. Now it's something like only Hare Krishnas are offering. Oh, strange people. But before it was everyone, actually. This is Vedic culture. Okay. Next point. So why should we take only prasadam? This is what is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 9.26. It shows our love for Krishna. When we cook something, first we give Krishna, then he's pleased. Oh, my devotee is offering me first. And the analogy is given like a child. So the small child may cook or something, or pretend to cook something, then take it and give it to the father. Okay, or let's say the child cuts an apple and gives a piece to the father. Father won't say, hey, this is my fruit, why are you giving me? I can take it anytime. No, father is thinking, oh, my child is giving me out of love. And the father takes it happily. Not that he needs an apple, fruit, but the love he appreciates. So this is how to show love for God. This is given in chapter 9, text 26. Next, it destroys sinful reactions. In chapter 3, text 13. Okay, this is mentioned. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to just read from these things. Okay, so just for a few minutes, we'll stop this share. Okay, so now let's look at this. I'm just going to read out. So why should we take only prasadam? I said that it shows our love for Krishna. That's mentioned in chapter 9, text 26, that if one offers with love food cooked with devotion to him, he will accept it. Thus we can see Krishna is pleased by this. It's an expression of devotion. It's an expression of bhakti. Next point is that in chapter 3, text 13 of Bhagavad Gita, it's mentioned that by taking prasadam, our sinful reactions are destroyed. So, as I said, we cannot begin the process of bhakti until our sinful reactions are properly destroyed. So, and as long as we have sinful reactions, then our consciousness is contaminated and we have desire to sin again. But if we take prasadam, that destroys these things. Okay, next point we'll see in the slide, that it gives fine brain tissue which leads to clear thinking. This is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita chapter 9.26, chapter 9, text 26. So I'll explain about this point. Srila Madhvacharya said that when we eat anything, it's divided into three things. The most gross part, heavy part, becomes stool and is expelled from the body after the goodness is taken out of it, whatever is needed. Then the most subtle part of that food becomes part of our body, the physical body, flesh. It forms the flesh and blood and that. There's another part of food which is subtle. that part is the influence of the cook, and that part becomes part of our mind. Everything we eat becomes part of our mind also. So when we take prasadam, then it forms fine brain tissue in the brain by which we can understand Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and spiritual topics, because we need higher thinking and clear thinking. That brain tissue can only be formed by prasadam. This is given in chapter 9, text 26. Okay, and number 4. In chapter 3, text 13 of Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada explains that we are residing in the kingdom of Maya. This is Maya's kingdom. Maya is everywhere. So at any time, we are at risk of falling in Maya, practically. Okay, just like somebody, he dives into in a submarine in the ocean, he's surrounded by water. Anytime the water can come in, he has to be careful in the submarine. So anytime the Maya, material energy, can infect us. So taking prasadam immunizes us from material affection in the same way that a vaccine protects one from epidemic disease. If you have a disease, and if you take a vaccine to fight the disease, then you are immunized. Or I don't know, they say maybe this corona is not 100% immunization, but it seems to reduce the severity of the disease. But generally, taking a vaccine protects us from disease. So this material world is full of contamination, and one who becomes immunized by taking prasadam, food offered to Vishnu, he is saved from attack of the Maya. Whereas one who does not do so becomes subject to contamination. So this is another thing that prasadam benefits us by. How? That it immunizes us from effect of Maya. Okay, I'll return to the share screen. Okay, we just looked at that prasadam shows our love for Krishna. It destroys sinful reactions, gives fine brain tissue, which leads to clear thinking, and immunizes the body from powerful material energy. This is why we should take prasadam. Now, we have, of course, one more thing is that we become spiritually advanced, because Krishna can be taken in different ways. Now you're hearing a lecture, so Krishna entering through the ears. If we see the form of the deity, or see a devotee, or if we see Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, just by seeing, then we are taking in Krishna through our eyes. But when you eat, you can take in Krishna through the mouth. It will enter into our body. Krishna consciousness, Krishna energy, spiritual energy will fill our body. So that is importance of prasadam. There's no excuse for anybody who says they are busy, because now, because of the lockdown, everyone is at home. So take only prasadam, offer everything. How to do it? A lot of you know it. If you don't know, ask your friend, ask me, ask anyone in the temple. We'll explain you how to do it, because this is a good opportunity. When you go out, we can understand you don't have time. But now you have the lockdown. This is opportunity given by Krishna for people to slow down and think, where am I going? What am I doing? And probably I think that finally this civilization will be destroyed, maybe. This is the plan for the coming golden age of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, this concludes our section on offering bhoga. Offering bhoga. Bhog means enjoyment. So offering bhog means offering that cooked for Krishna, which he can enjoy. That is the food. We don't enjoy, Krishna enjoys first. Then he leaves the remnants in form of prasadam, which we can take with great faith, great appreciation and gratitude, as we can advance by taking prasadam. So we should take prasadam. Okay. I think someone has a question. What is that? Okay, I'll look at it after some time. All right. So prasadam is important, and it should be part of our devotional service, part of our schedule. All right. So this brings us to the end of this part, one section of prasadam. Okay, just I think is this someone is trying to pass a message. Someone is saying there is no sound. Someone is saying sound is okay. So Manish, yeah, no sound. Actually, there is sound. So you can call somebody here, anyone you know, who can explain you how to get sound. Something on Zoom, when you join, gives you an option. What sound should you take from the computer or from some other source? So you have to select computer source. Okay. So, all right. Now I'm going to continue. Okay. Taking prasadam is important. So in your schedule, which at the end of this, we look at our sadhana schedule. That is the whole point, is based on this, okay, is how to advance in Krishna consciousness during the lockdown. Okay. So one of the ways is that we should take prasadam, learn about how to do that. All right. Now, next point is avoiding E-ASAT-SANGHA. Just before that, again, it seems like some query. Yes. What is that? It's saying, what is that? Invite. Okay, someone raised a hand. What is that? Okay. So I think you might have a question. Okay. So that can come at the end of the presentation. So, all right. Yes, you can remember the question. All right. And I think, yeah, we should proceed. Okay. So now we are going to the next section. We mentioned that, so about bhoga, importance of bhoga, offering Krishna food before eating. So take this opportunity and do it. And how to do it, how to do the offering, how to cook. And if you want a picture on the altar, how to offer for offering, because we can't just offer to any picture. They should be Guru Parampara. They should be the 6 Goswamis, Narsinghadev, Panchatattva, and if you're initiated, your Guru's picture, otherwise Srila Prabhupada. There's a system. So if you don't know it, you contact us, and on the WhatsApp group, we'll explain you. All right, now we are going to next section. Today we're covering 3 sections. Offering bhoga. Second, avoiding E-ASAT-SANGHA. Third, making our sadhana schedule. So next point now. Harmful effects of E-ASAT-SANGHA. Now what we are doing is E-Sangha. Sadhu Sangha. Sangha means satsang. We sit together and discuss about Krishna. But we're talking about asatsang, because everything has a harmful use and a beneficial use. When we say E-ASAT-SANGHA, we include YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, internet in general. There's so many things by which we get asatsang, that is association of non-devotees, which destroys our bhakti. Okay, it may increase our lust, or it may increase mundane consciousness in our mind, so that we are not able to practice bhakti effectively. This is very harmful, and devotees should take note. Okay, let's look at it. Yeah, before that, I want to explain that in many temples now in ISKCON, ashrams, they have banned smartphones, or if they have smartphone, there's no internet. Basically, this has become a big obstacle for bhakti, and it's been realized. So in your homes, I seriously request you, please do not give children access to YouTube, Facebook, these things. Okay, I have to mention this point because as especially parents have a responsibility to bringing up their children. So you are the spiritual guide. So don't get them addicted to smartphones and YouTube. And a lot of times we do that because we don't want to take care of the child. The child is crying, and it's easy for us just to give him the phone. And when we give him the phone, then he'll be quiet and look on YouTube and cartoons. But this is not good parenting. This is giving bad habits and bad example right from a young age. Imagine how he'll become free from this addiction if from age 5 or 6 we're giving him these things. So this is harmful. As part of a parent teaching spiritual knowledge to the children, please, you keep this away from children. If possible, if they can be permanently away, that's good. Okay, so keep them away from these things. Otherwise, as they grow up, they become addicted to this. And actually, parents are meant to give their love. And out of that parental love, then the child reciprocates later on. But if we don't, if we just give them, TV and iPad and smartphone, then what will happen? And then when you grow up, they'll give that to you. Okay, they'll not give you attention. They didn't get attention. They'll give you, okay, you just go in this old age home and I'll give you whatever you want, any money, any electronics or TV, So this is harmful for children and for devotees, for anyone. All right, so that is important. Harmful effect of e-sangha. In Nectar of Instruction, text 2, Rupa Goswami says it destroys bhakti. Yeah, in Nectar of Instruction, Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha janna sangascha lolyam cha shadbir bhaktir vinashyati. How to destroy bhakti? Destruction of bhakti comes in 6 ways. Out of that, one is jana sangha, associating with non-devotees. So when we go too much on YouTube to watch nonsense not related to Krishna, or Facebook or Instagram, our brain becomes full of these things. Okay, and if we are full of these things, how are we going to then think about Krishna? And then when we want to think about Krishna, or we want to read or chant, then it becomes very difficult because our brain is so full of other things, which we saw yesterday night or today or just before doing our sadhana. We looked at so much nonsense. So we have to come out of this habit. It's disturbing our mind. It makes us very fickle. Like when you're surfing on the internet, you quickly change the video or change the screen. I've seen people. So that way the mind cannot fix on one thing. Like now, we cannot fix on one thing and hear a lecture. And some people become disturbed and then they're not able to hear a lecture or chant and focus. Immediately they pick up phone or do something else. So you have to at least develop your mind properly if you want to do bhakti. So for that, we recommend, be careful, asatsang, E-ASAT-SANGHA. So in Nectar of Instruction, it's Rupa Goswami says this point, that it is harmful. Then in the next text, text 3, Rupa Goswami gives 6 things which are good for bhakti. There he says, utsaha, nishchay, dharya, tatat karma pravartanat. Then he says that sato vritte, what is that? Sangatyagat sato vritte, shadbir bhakti prasidyati, how to improve bhakti. And in that list, he's given sangatyagat. Again, he repeats, giving up material association promotes bhakti. In the previous verse, he said, associating with non-devotees, that's not good. In the next verse, he says, giving up the company of non-devotees is good for bhakti. So you see, he repeated it 2 times, which means it's so important. Excessive association with non-devotees in terms, and this includes also hearing from non-devotees is harmful. They should be devotees of Krishna if we want to hear anything about Krishna. They should not be Mayavadis or people against Krishna. Okay, there are so many Sri Sris and Swamis and Yogis and Babas who are claiming to be gurus, but they're not, because they're not devotees of Krishna. They're not preaching Bhagavad Gita. They're not following teachings of Bhagavad Gita. So these are not gurus. So we should be careful. This is Asat Sangha. We should only hear, and my advice is you only hear from people in ISKCON. Within ISKCON also, you should be careful. Mostly we should hear from Prabhupada and look at Prabhupada videos. Otherwise, of course, you can look at our temple, ISKCON, GP Nagar, people who you know. Now, there are many, if you check on the internet, we can easily find so many people who we can hear from, but we have to find out who they are, even if they're in ISKCON. What are they following? What are they listening? What are they preaching? So for that, you can ask devotees, you can ask us. Okay, so 2 things to promote bhakti: give up company of non-devotees and don't associate with non-devotees, as given in Nectar of Instruction. So, Shadbir Bhakti Prasidyati. This promotes bhakti. All right, so that was text 2 and 3 of Rupa Goswami. Okay, next point, time. Harmful effect of E-ASAT-SANGHA. Time goes. We have limited time in a day and in our life by which we have to become Krishna conscious. Better save time. We need a lot of time to become Krishna conscious. Don't use your time to go on these mundane websites and social media, which will take away our time, energy, and consciousness. No, we have to save it for Krishna. Okay. It's a, if you just look at it, Prahlad Maharaj in his teachings, he mentioned once that if you analyze that we grow up, then we, at a young age, we are playing with children, with the other kids. Then we go to school. Then at a young age, we get energy. So we go out and we're with our friends. Then you get married, and then time goes in maintaining family and children. And in this way, if you analyze our life, we don't really have so much free time. So whatever free time we have, we should keep it for Krishna. Make a plan. You can read, get time for reading, chanting, memorizing shlokas, and increasing your Krishna consciousness if you simply stop this mundane activities of going on the internet and wasting so much time. So this is a major point. Okay. Time has to be saved. Next point, consciousness. The more time we spend on mundane sites, the more our consciousness becomes mundane. Just try to experiment it. That if we spend so much time on a mundane website looking at material things, then try to chant or read after that. Completely we become, there's no desire, taste. So why do we do that? There's no need. There's no need. Sometimes people think, I have to know what's going on in the news. Yeah, you can know generally. Otherwise, I'll just tell you, whatever you know, what is in the news, it will not affect your karma. What is to come will come, what won't come will not come. Of course, we shouldn't be completely clueless. Even we look at news, we have to have some idea what's going on. Is there a lockdown or not? What is allowed? Some things we have to check. But we have to be careful not to overdo it because it is harmful. It will destroy our consciousness. And then our desire to be Krishna conscious goes. And I forgot to mention one thing here, TV. Regarding TV, I know a family, and actually that devotee is here on this group now listening to this lecture, who does not have a TV, and he has a very high salary, and he spends whole day work. He's a manager basically, and he does not have a TV. He's a family man with a son and wife. So this is a very good example. TV is not essential. If you have to have a TV, put it somewhere in a corner in a room, not in the main sitting room where anybody who sits must put on the TV, and then there's no conversation, no Krishna Katha, nothing. Put it in some corner somewhere. So anyone wants to watch, they can go there. It is not the central thing in life. Okay, my advice is that you do not watch TV. This is my advice to Grihastha. And my point here is how to increase Krishna consciousness, especially during the lockdown. So my advice is to stop E-ASAT-SANGHA in the form of Facebook, YouTube, and social media, but also TV. Okay, do it, and you will get a big boost in your life, more time, good consciousness. You will advance, and you can get liberation in this life. Otherwise, it's very difficult. Asatsang is right in your house, especially if it's in the sitting room. Then we are doomed. What are we going to learn? How can our consciousness come on Krishna if it's always on the TV? And if the TV is always on, then whatever anyone is doing in the whole house, you're just hearing the TV. Very harmful. I know that because I was in a house once and there was a TV. It was horrible. All right. Continuing with the harmful effects of E-ASAT-SANGHA. Motivation goes for chanting and reading. It decreases if we go on these sites. As I mentioned, harmful effect, time goes, consciousness is ruined. Motivation for becoming Krishna conscious goes because we just had our head filled with so much garbage from TV and internet. So how can we do it then? Okay, harmful effects. They're very harmful. E-ASAT-SANGHA. How to counteract? Okay, this you will know yourself. I don't know what I can put here, but let me mention some things. Only use your phone and computer for Krishna consciousness. Right now, you're using your phones to listen to this lecture. Very good. Subscription. What you subscribed on YouTube, better put only spiritual sites. And computer only for Krishna. Everything only for Krishna. You can search recipes, make some nice sweet item for Krishna. He likes that, especially morning, 4:15 if you offer, or 4 o'clock. Krishna likes that. So make some nice sweets. You can check recipes, lectures, videos. Okay. Otherwise, no, we don't use these other applications. No need for notifications on all apps. I'm going into detail here. Sometimes we have notification, Facebook, ding. So many things, you know, oh, you got to have a message. Someone did this, someone did that. You can remove all this nonsense sounds which distract our mind. Of course, I think you need WhatsApp notification, maybe email. Okay. So when chanting, hearing a lecture or reading, put the phone in silent mode. Go into samadhi. When we read, we should go into samadhi deeply, read. Okay, especially those who want to take Diksha, you have to read Bhagavad Gita, Nectar of Devotion, Srimad Bhagavatam at least till 2nd canto. This is a must. Okay, and to maintain good consciousness. So if you do that, it's difficult. How to do it if these phones and notifications are buzzing and beeping? It's difficult, even for us, but we do this as a fact. Okay, and if you do it every day, then gradually people will realize that between 4:30 and 6:30, this person is always going to be on his phone. I cannot reach him. So they'll adjust to it. Okay, this is how to counteract E-ASAT-SANGHA. Okay, so, okay, now, as I mentioned that we are covering 3 topics today. The first topic we covered was the BHOGA, offering BHOGA to Krishna. Second, avoiding harmful effects of E-ASAT-SANGHA. Third point is now how to make a sadhana schedule. The whole point of this seminar, this is part 5 now, is how we can use the lockdown to make a good sadhana schedule. For those of you who have been following from the beginning of this seminar, you got a good idea about all those other 5 things, 6 points, which we'll go over just now. And so you have a good idea now about reading, chanting, how to regulate different things. So the whole point is how to make a good sadhana, especially during this lockdown. All right. So let's look at it. Making a sadhana schedule. Now, these are the points. Good sadhana. In conclusion, good sadhana means regulating our sleep with good timings. Okay. Next, rising early and following the morning program. Okay. You will see, if you know what all these are, if you had seen earlier parts of this seminar. Then reading. Good sadhana must include a good dose of reading. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. At least one of them or 2 you can read daily. Reading. Good sadhana schedule should include hearing lectures of Prabhupada daily, and also our Diksha Guru or some spiritual Shiksha person who you want to hear from. But you should clear who you are hearing from your spiritual authority. This is important. You can imbibe the wrong ideas. Unfortunately, even in ISKCON, sometimes, some kind of people are speaking. Anyone is speaking nowadays, because of the lockdown. Anyone is speaking. We don't know how much they know if they're speaking properly. So we have to be careful. Learn one shloka daily. It will help in our preaching. It will help us to become convinced. And when we quote a shloka, when we are trying to show people Bhagavad Gita or explain our philosophy, then it's very effective. Prabhupada wanted that everyone learned. Again, this is all in our earlier seminars. Just have a look at them. Preparing BHOGA for Krishna. So our sadhana schedule should include all of this. And we must reduce TV or stop TV time, Facebook, YouTube, and internet. Now, some suggestion of good sadhana, okay? Before that, I want to suggest, before I give an example of a good sadhana schedule, first I want to explain that use the lockdown wisely. In our life, we got a time when we are free from obligation, botheration I'm saying botheration from family, friends. I know we don't say that they're good. We, of course, care about our family and friends, but for devotees, sometimes, because they're absorbed in material things, they pull us into some material thing, and that's harmful for bhakti. So this lockdown is one benediction, good benediction is that we are able to focus on good time on our sadhana because there's no traveling or moving around. We don't have to attend this or that function. So use this time wisely, advance in Krishna consciousness. This is the purpose of the seminar. Make a plan today to begin good sadhana from tomorrow. After you heard all the seminar classes now, so you make a plan. what your sadhana schedule should be. All right, for further guidance, you can contact me. All right, now I'm going to give you some suggestion. Okay. Before that, so I want to again speak about this point that if you have not done so, you can hear the earlier lectures and familiarize yourself with what is a morning program, a good reading schedule, and a good schedule of hearing. All of these things you can familiarize yourself. Okay, and then now I'm going to give a suggestion. Okay, for a good schedule. So here we have it. For example, sleep early. I recommend 9:30 p.m. or 10 p.m. I'm giving the time because if I say sleep early, for some people, 11 p.m. is early. I heard that from some people. They say, they phone me, today I slept early. What time? Yesterday I slept early. What time? 11 p.m. That is not early. Early is 8:30 if you can do that. That's the time we sleep here in the ashram, or 9. If you can't manage 9:30, 10, okay, do it now. You have time. I mean, you have all the opportunity. Okay, sleep early, wake up early. Wake up, my suggestion is 4 a.m. Prabhupada said that any devotee must wake up by 4 a.m. That's what they were following. If it seems so outrageous to you, try, okay, 5 a.m. But in future, anyway, you can hear about this in part 1. I mentioned a lot of things about this, especially about sleeping. The best sleep is 8 to 12, 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. at night. That is very good sleep. The body is very refreshed. After that, the sleep is not so good. So most of our sleep should be within this area. Therefore, you sleep early. Okay, then wake up early. This is sadhana. Otherwise, you cannot do sadhana if you're going to wake up late or sleepy. And then if you wake up after sunrise, then it's not a good time, consciousness. Okay, for some of you, this might be something new, but use it. As I said, you have to come up in bhakti. All right. So follow the morning program. That should be in your sadhana schedule. Follow a good morning program. You can watch part 2 to understand that. Read and memorize a shloka before cooking or before eating. Okay, honoring prasad. What I mean here is that when you follow the whole morning program, especially the chanting, at that time, you become very spiritualized. Your mind becomes very spiritualized and clear. So at that time, I recommend before you go to start cooking or eating, you give 10 minutes. You plan it like that, 10 minutes, and you memorize that shloka at that time of day when your mind is so bright. After memorizing the shloka, you can write it down somewhere. And then you can refer to it the whole day. And in that way, you can memorize the whole day. If you look at the shloka, then you will get it by evening. Again, for more detail, you look at part 4 of the seminar, and this is given in detail. Okay, so good sadhana schedule includes this part. Read and memorize one shloka. Next, cook for Krishna, honoring prasadam. Cook for Krishna. Okay, so if you're going to have a sadhana schedule, then you don't offer bhoga and eat prasad. That doesn't make sense. So, because that is the full package of Krishna consciousness, is when we stop taking in sinful reactions and karma from other people. Even from us, if we cook and don't offer, there's going to be harmful effects. So, sadhana schedule should include prasadam, eating only prasadam. Cook for Krishna. Learn to cook if you don't know. You know, even men, everyone should learn to cook, because any Hare Krishna should know how to cook. I said that in the beginning. Why? Because we don't eat out. So we should know how to cook. Otherwise, what will we do? We'll get stuck. In our sadhana schedule should be included 30 minutes of reading, Bhagavad Gita or another book in the morning, and then late afternoon or evening, Srimad Bhagavatam, 1 or 1.5 or 2 hours. I realize some of you are still working even during the lockdown. You may not have all this time, but you can factor in definitely some time, 30 minutes, 1.5, 2 hours. You can read 2 books. You can read Srimad Bhagavatam or Gita, and another book, more light, not so philosophical. Or you can read Gita and Bhagavatam morning and evening. Okay, so these are sadhana suggestions. Okay, everyone can include this. And if we, as I said, now during the lockdown, especially, we have this opportunity. This is, especially for devotees, it's a great benediction. Okay. And so if someone needs help to prepare their schedule, you can inform me. And I hope if you understood everything in this presentation, that you can understand the importance of sadhana. Sadhana means regulated spiritual activities performed regularly, periodically. For example, daily waking up and following a certain schedule such that we can advance in Krishna consciousness. If we have not made a proper sadhana schedule, let us do it today, all right? After having absorbed all these seminar parts, and make a good schedule so that in these 2 weeks or 1 month or 3 months, who knows how long the lockdown is, that you're able to finish Bhagavad Gita. Maybe you can read good number of Srimad Bhagavatam cantos or other books of Prabhupada. You can read them. So make a plan to read, okay? And make a plan for chanting nicely and advance. And once you advance and you get the taste, even if the lockdown ends, you'll be motivated to continue in bhakti. All right, so congratulations to everyone. You have already come to ISKCON. You already took up the process, and now you're hearing this seminar. So you move on to next level. We should always try to come to higher levels of Krishna consciousness. And in this one lifetime, let us finish everything. Okay, so this concludes this seminar, part 5, final part of advancing in Krishna consciousness during this lockdown. Now, if anybody has any questions about what I spoke, you can ask me now, okay? Or you can either through your mic, you can ask me, or you can ask me by chat, okay? So, Hare Krishna.